Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click on that link to join the debate and express your views on the shape of the Earth live. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected, but you will be warmly welcomed back on the next show. Which brings me to rule two, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts if you are ejected for swearing. Other than that, you are free, at least for the time being, to express your views on the shape of the Earth entirely unopposed. That will of course change with time. I'm going to transition across in a moment to my photograph so I can share the show on Skype, Facebook, Twitter and social media, and I would encourage anybody who is in the live audience to do the same. Please share the show. With that, I'll say one last time, if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Hangout is now up and running as far as I can tell. Double check that it is correctly pasted in the info box below the video. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's all there. Happy days. Sound is very low because I'm muttering away to myself because the Hangout went snap. So I just reloaded it. Good that it happened now rather than later. Somebody wants to click on the link to check it works, I'd be very much obliged. As I say, we should all be up and running now, so I don't think it would affect anybody, the Hangout breaking before anybody joined, but it's all up and running now, so yeah, feel free to click on the link and join the show if you were delayed by doing so. I doubt it. I don't think anybody was trying to join at that particular moment. It's only been on for 6 or 7 minutes, so yeah, we're all good. Maybe I'll do one more plug. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And most importantly, if you would like to join the debate to express your views on the shape of the Earth, simply click on the link in the info box below this video with your watch page muted. You are free, at least for the time being, to express those views entirely unopposed, as nobody is here to express their views and challenge you. So feel free to be the first and express your views without anybody challenging you. I'm sure that will change as time goes by, and there are only a couple of rules that apply when the debate gets started. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. Number 2, if you are ejected, please just take a walk. Come back on the next show, you will be warmly welcome back. And with that, I'm going to transition to my photos and encourage anybody who is in the live audience to share the show on social media. May as well do a few shout outs to the people in the chat. John Watson, good to see you, my friend. No way, Jose. Yes, another debate. Awesome, says No way, Jose. Dangerous D, good to see you, my friend. The Rig says, sup, Nathan. Sky, the sky is always up. Tim Osman, good to see you. Osman. SJ says hi. Hi to you too. Channel Q, good to see you. Steve Anthony, hello. Pleased to have you here. Oh, we do have a guest. Sorry guys, this will take priority. How you doing? Who is it? Oh no, I think maybe somebody just checking the Hangout worked. Thank you very much if you did. If I've got sound, but we'll figure that out with the next person who joins. Tender Nipple WWE Hugging Touch But Martial Arts. Thank you for being here. What a screen name. David Quintana, thank you for being here. Nichio Snows, nice to see you. HP Gang, lots of profanity, I'll approve it anyway. Nice to have you here. Twit, did I say hello to you already? I don't think I did. Hello, pleased to see you, Twitwit. Cat Earth, hello, pleased to see you. Chess was first. I think that's it. If I didn't say hello, my apologies. Oh, we've been joined by Lewis.
Good evening.
Well dark there. Good to have you, Lewis. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for the show. I would like to propose a motion. The motion is the Earth is a ball, and the first and most significant reason and argument for it being a ball is the motion of celestial bodies. The motion of celestial bodies passing beneath the horizon and returning on the other side in a cyclical manner is best explained by the Earth being a ball that is spinning in space in relation to those celestial bodies. The next piece of evidence for the shape of the Earth comes from standing at ground level. No matter where you go, the horizon will always recede away from you as you move, and more ground will come into view. And a telescope will not allow you to bring more objects from the distance into view as long as you are at ground level, because the horizon typically is within sight. So those are the two main arguments that I'll stick with, and we'll see if anyone rebuts and argues against the motion that the Earth is a ball.
Jolly good. Very dark there, my friend. What's going on?
Oh, there's just no light, and it's getting on into the evening here. Bit overcast. I don't know. I could change the settings on my camera so that it was in color, but then you'd be able to see details, and they're not as flattering as this color scheme.
I didn't know you were in black and white. You're in black and white?
No,
then?
yeah.
Right. I'm colorblind.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea you were in black and white.
Oh, I see.
But now I'll only see you in black and white, so thanks for that.
Yeah.
I've been joined by, we have Tim Osman. Pleased to have you. In case he was wondering, your sound did come through okay, Tim. The audience could hear it. I'll say this in advance. If anybody joins, play along.
Hello. Have I reached technical support? Gosh, darn it.
Not this time. It's getting better at those.
So, as I said, I'll just repeat the 2 points. The motion of celestial bodies, their cyclical pattern, them passing beneath the horizon and coming up from behind it on opposite sides. And how the horizon behaves as you move around on the planet. That those 2 points are the main ones. And I could throw another one in. Tim reminded me, because he brings this one up an awful lot, but in the southern hemisphere, there is a different night sky, and it revolves in a different direction around a different set of central stars, celestial point, than in the north hemisphere.
You ever seen it?
Personally, me, no, I have not.
Cool. Sat with my wife on the beach. We had the iPad because I don't know the South constellations from Adam, you know. So I just looked them up on the iPad and we sat and we pointed them out. It was really cool.
You might be able to see a couple of them from the southern hemisphere, but certainly not.
Oh, you.
All right, I made the right choice. Staying in. I can't hear you, Nathan.
Yeah, sorry, I'm mumbling away to myself while I'm sorting out a few issues. Because the router just inexplicably started to restart and I lost all internet, but we're all back now as far as I can tell. Days.
All right.
And I think I managed to do it quick enough to keep the stream the same. I'm just going to establish that it is the same stream. So I'll have to update the links and stuff. No, it all seems to be working. Happy days. That was far faster than last time when the whole computer restarted. It decided to do a Windows 10 update and just completely crashed OBS, and then the internet failed. We've been joined by Brenda and P. Mars. How are you doing?
Hello.
Good to have you both.
I'm doing fine. I just had some pumpkin pie.
Bit quiet, I'll tell you what, Brenda.
Can you hear me now? I just
Perfect.
had some pumpkin pie.
Beautiful, beautiful. Can you say something, P, so I can level you up?
Hello, my name is P. Mars. I like long walks on the beach
Beautiful,
and movies.
thank you. I got a full panel full of globe heads. Let's see how this goes.
Were there any objections to my motion so far? I mean, I know we all agree on the shape of the Earth, but
What's your motion?
the Earth's a ball, and my supporting arguments were the motion of celestial bodies passing behind the horizon and coming up from behind it on the opposite side in a cyclical pattern, and how the horizon will always change no matter how you move at ground level. It will always continue to disappear, and looking through a vision enhancing instrument like a telescope or camera will not allow you to see more things further into the distance. So a telescope will not extend how far the horizon is. And then the two celestial points. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, nothing uncontroversial to me. Well, I think one thing we can that I want to mention is It really seems like it's impossible to talk to flat earthers because they really aren't interested in the truth. They don't care about the facts. They aren't interested in the facts. They don't care about the shape of the earth. They're dogmatists, and they want their beliefs. They just believe what they believe, and they want to believe what they believe. In many cases, it's because of religious orthodoxy. In other cases, it's because of conspiracy theories. And in a small number of cases, it's simply very poor reasoning skills or very poor education. So with many flat earthers, I find myself trying to teach them not just junior high school math and science, but elementary school math and science. And they don't even, they seem to be unable to understand the basic concepts of elementary physics or of basic elementary earth science, how things work, how refraction works, how gravity works, whether it is even real. And they're highly resistant to changing their minds and highly resistant to, to any kind of argument that might threaten their belief system because they feel emotionally attached, either because of religion or because of ideology. And it's very difficult to talk to them. And I know that some people have stopped interacting with or discussing very much about flat earthers because of that. For me, it's sort of a challenge and stuff. I think I want to feel I can get better at it. And also, there are always people listening and watching. I've heard that, for instance, in online forums, for every one person that's posting or commenting, there are 7 people who are lurking and never comment and never show their presence. So it's to those people that I think most arguments can be sort of directed. You're not going to convince most of the flat earthers that they're wrong. I think if you took somebody like Dell, or I think if you a lot of these people, and you put them on a ship and you launched them into space and they looked down and saw the earth was round, they would still deny it.
I think some of them would.
You
too.
just described like 99% of people, including yourself.
No, I did not describe myself.
You absolutely did.
No, that's false.
Really?
Well,
How so? How did I describe myself?
Because like
In
you're
what
talking
way?
about
In what way
like
do I?
about like everything you said about flat earthers can be applied to you about how like they
What about
don't care
different
about
beliefs,
facts and it's about beliefs and dogma. You do the
well,
same.
That's a claim. How do you back that up?
Well,
That's what you say, but what makes you think that that's true?
because I've listened to you a lot and I don't think like your
Can't
opinion
understand. You're wrong, and it's so bad I can't understand. You were
don't
robotic.
you believe things because you want to believe them, just like flat earthers.
No, that's not
It's
true.
it is true.
No, it isn't.
How is it not true?
Because I believe things when they're true, not because I want to believe them.
well,
I really
Mars, you
doubt
made
that.
the assertion that Brenda is the way she described flat earthers to be.
Yeah,
So
she's
I
projecting on
feel
the
that
flat earth.
I feel that you have the burden of proof to demonstrate that projection.
The burden of proof.
Right.
Yeah, you're the one making the claim. Support your claim.
Well, I mean that. What? So you don't think your beliefs affect like the information you download into your brain. You think you're
Brenda
completely unbiased?
Brenda does not claim to think the Earth is flat and didn't claim to be unbiased. Brenda claimed that the flat earthers were that way.
Yeah, and I said that she's the same way.
Right. So
Well,
about what? Give an example.
I mean, I don't know everything she believes.
So how can you make that assertion if you don't
Because
know?
because that's how everyone is. It applies to everyone.
So there's no such thing as truth.
I doubt it in this day and age. Yeah, probably not.
See, I believe
we live in a world of lies and deception with psychopaths in control that manipulate people.
How do you know?
If there's lies, then there must be truth. If there's lies, then there must be truth, right?
I mean, lies contain mostly truth.
Lies are mostly truth? How does that make
lies,
sense?
Yeah. Well, they tell you a lot of like facts, right? Like they're true. They'll tell you things that are true, but they'll be spun in a way or presented in a way that is manipulative. So they can tell you things that are factual and true, but at the same time being sort of manipulated and lying to you at the same time. That's what occurs.
No, so you said we're surrounded by lies.
Yes.
So that implies that there's such a thing as the truth, correct?
Sure.
Okay. And truth is independent of my personal opinion. It's not my opinion that X is true.
There's no way your opinion can't affect. There's no way your opinion can't affect your beliefs, and your beliefs affect the facts.
My opinion is my belief.
Right. So like your beliefs are based on the same thing that flat Earth beliefs are based off of, but you're just a judgmental bitch.
No, not really.
Not really.
No, absolutely, really.
Anyway, we've been joined. Sorry to interrupt you guys.
helpful.
Sorry, before you get into a tete-a-tete, we've been joined by Validation Boy. How you doing, VB?
I'm totally awesome, as usual.
Excellent.
Thanks for sending me the link.
Do you want to
Sending you the link in the description?
Validation Boy, would you like to address the initial motion I made and did you hear my supporting arguments for it?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
My motion was the Earth is a ball, and my three supporting arguments for that were the motion of celestial bodies passing behind the horizon and reappearing from behind it on a cyclical pattern. And then as you move around on the Earth, on the ground, no matter where you go, the horizon will continue to move away from you, and a telescope will not help you see past the horizon. And then the celestial points of the stars.
Okay, number 1 and 3, I slapped the intangible argument on them. Throw those right out the window.
But you can't see. All right, go. Sorry.
And the second one, the middle one, the horizon. You're speaking of the horizon as if it's a specific point, yet you're saying it continues to move away from you. So there is no specific horizon point that you can say that you cannot see past.
Yes, there is. So I'll take 1 and 3. Right. 1 and 3. You're saying they're intangible, but so what? There's still motion occurring. There's still luminaries up there, regardless of their tangibility. There are still objects. There are still things to be seen.
You're assuming that they're objects.
It doesn't. All right. Regardless of what they are and whether or not they're tangible, they can be seen and tracked across the sky. And that demonstrates that there is motion occurring regardless, and that motion should be explained. And I think the best way that that's explained is that the Earth is a ball spinning in relation to them. And then to the horizon being a fixed point. Well, it's a fixed point to an observer who is not moving. When you move, the horizon moves with you. So it's always fixed relative to you.
Okay.
So you're round Earth or no?
No, it's not round. You're alleging that because you're using a tool that has a limited scope of capabilities, that the Earth must be a ball because the instrument you're using doesn't have the capabilities to see any further.
Well, a telescope can see much further than the horizon is, but it doesn't allow you to see objects on the ground that are beyond the horizon, which, if the Earth were flat, you would be able to do. If they were vanishing out of sight to a size, angular size that your eye cannot perceive, a telescope would bring those back.
Do you know what
But
I
the
read on the Google? That if the Earth was flat, you can see a candle flicker 30 miles away.
We've been joined by Mr. Nutwood and Free Minded. Can you just guys say a quick hello?
Hello, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Good to have you both. Thank you for being here.
But no, telescopes are also finite. Their range is finite. So your telescope is basically the same thing as your eye. It's just that it sees further. So it's the same thing as your eye.
What do you mean a telescope finite?
A
What is that?
telescope only magnifies what you can already see.
Yeah.
Same
Well,
with
no.
False.
In a lot of cases, a telescope, if you're at an elevated position relative to all the ground around you, that extends your horizon out. And in that case, you will be able to see, or you won't be able to see objects like the size of a person who are all the way on the horizon. But with a telescope, you could do that.
it
But
only
if a
magnifies what
person-
you can already see.
That's false.
Right. But a telescope will magnify
Google
things
it.
that are in your line of sight.
No, it's not true.
But the horizon will obscure things so that they are no longer in your line of sight, demonstrating that the Earth's surface is changing consistently.
No, you have to define what the horizon is, and you can't define the horizon. So
It's the farthest distance that you can see objects that are also on the ground.
until you
false
move an
around.
inch, until you move another inch forward, until you move another inch forward.
Right, and then
Yeah,
it
then it
changes
moves
with
with
you.
Yeah,
But a
'cause it's a false
telescope,
horizon.
well, the telescope, theoretically, if the Earth was flat, would allow you to see further than the natural vanishing point, which a flat earther would postulate would be the horizon.
Yeah, but that visibility still has a finite point. It still has an end point.
No, that's false.
Yeah, not when there isn't a single telescope on the planet that will not allow you to see right up to the horizon, virtually no matter how far that horizon is.
So then what we should be asking is, why hasn't something like the Hubble, the things that have the same power of the Hubble or other powerful telescopes, been used on the Earth's surface yet?
Why is that
They
a
are.
question to be used? Why is that a question to ask? I didn't bring up anything
Well, that
about
would-
space.
That would totally change the game. It would totally change the whole thing that you're talking about right now.
Well, those weren't any of the arguments that I made. All of the arguments I made were observations from the ground.
So you're moving the goalpost.
No,
No,
you're
that
trying
was
to move
his
the
original
goalposts.
goalpost. You're moving
Yeah,
the
those.
goalpost.
Yeah,
A telescope is just same exact thing as your eye, basically. It's just that it's an amplification.
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. Like what's
That's it.
It gathers
So
light.
that's the answer to your question.
It gathers.
Yeah, but
that's
that
not an
doesn't. That's not a rebuttal to the point.
One of your points is debunked
No,
Which
you didn't
one?
debunk anything.
About the horizon.
Which point is debunked?
about the horizon, right? Say it again.
What? Right.
What was your point about the horizon?
The fact that as you move over the surface of the Earth, your horizon changes constantly. That was one of my initial points. And on a flat Earth, that wouldn't necessarily happen because the distance you could see would be a function of the angular size of an object based on how far away it was from you. So really large objects in the distance, you'd be able to see from very far away. But objects like the size of a person, there would be a consistent vanishing point for every object of that approximate size.
Yeah, with one telescope.
And a telescope would bring those objects back into view by magnifying them. But
Yeah, because
on a ball, if those things are further away than the horizon is, but still on the ground, a telescope is not going to bring them into your field of view because your line of sight is obscured by the horizon.
So why don't we get more powerful telescopes so that we can keep seeing further on the obviously flat plane that we live on top of?
Well, any telescope that
you
you
do that?
use, any telescope that you use is going to have a total distance that it can see that is greater than the horizon, but it can't see through the horizon, which is the contention.
Right.
I see what you're getting at, but
You can't see objects that are obscured by the curvature of the Earth.
But that's not what you're seeing. You're seeing your false horizon, even when you look through binoculars or a telescope.
No.
The horizon isn't false.
I mean, well, that's the argument. You guys think it's curvature that's blocking your
The
view,
horizon that is
and
a limit.
we know that it's just your false horizon.
No, you
There's
don't.
nothing.
You don't know that.
Yeah, because that's the laws of perspective.
No, it's not. That's not perspective.
What are the laws of perspective? I would like to know.
Google it.
No,
No, you
said-
brought it
you're
up.
the one
You
who-
brought it up.
I mean, I just woke up, man. I'll tell you one.
That's not my
You have a
problem.
look, all right, listen. You have a false horizon. Okay? The false
What is it?
horizon, that's where basically the top meets the bottom. The furthest you can see. That
That's
your
not a false
eyes will
horizon.
allow
That's
you
just
to
the
see.
How is
definition.
that?
That's just the
That
definition
line,
of a
that
horizon.
horizon line, that horizontal line to where you can't see past.
Yeah,
And
that's
what-
just
and
the
you cannot see
definition of
anything
a
past it.
horizon. That's just
What
the
causes
definition.
that? What causes,
What causes
this
it?
false? Yeah.
The limits of your eyes.
Right.
What do you
So
mean the limits?
shouldn't a telescope allow us to see further?
A
Through
telescope
that false
only
horizon?
magnifies what you can already see. That's
Mr. Nutwood,
That's not
also,
true.
No,
These
a
guys all-
telescope will absolutely allow you to see further than your eyes can because it changes
telescope-
the angle. Telescope will change the angular size of an object that's too small for your eyes to see.
a telescope and a microscope is basically the same thing.
Yes, they are. That's right.
That's irrelevant to the question here.
see, Lewis
Just
and
as-
Brenda,
What does a
Lewis-
microscope do?
A microscope magnifies things that are too small for you to see because they are too small for your eye to see.
It magnifies. That's it.
A telescope magnifies things at a distance that are too small for you to see because they are too far away.
That's what perspective is. Perspective is the
You're right.
phenomenon that things become smaller the farther away they are from you. That's what
Lewis-
perspective is. The things appear to be smaller the further away they are from you. Right?
Okay,
That's
you
what
guys-
Where did they finish?
huh?
Lewis and Brenda also failed to mention the fact that even though there's an alleged curve falling away in front of them, that same curve doesn't happen on the side to side. So
Well, it
Oh, they
does
don't want to
happen.
talk about that.
It
They don't want
It
to talk about
happens
that.
all around you at 360 degrees.
But,
Really, though?
I mean, really, you should be addressing the points that we brought up, validation boy. Not bringing up points that we did not bring up.
well, your points are invalidated by my points. So
No,
well, they weren't. They weren't. The fact is that it doesn't matter if the stars and sun and moon and other celestial bodies are tangible. It matters that they are visible, and their motion indicates some motion somewhere.
holograms are visible too, bro.
Right, and they indicate motion, don't they, when they move? And and also, I'd like just to address that that's not relevant because holograms have to exist within a confined space. They can only exist within the range of the sensors and the projectors creating the hologram.
Okay, what does that prove?
Well, it proves that if the luminaries in the sky are holograms, then there is something outside of them creating the hologram because of how we make holograms. How are you proposing that that they would be holograms to begin with? Not that it matters because their motion still demonstrates that something is moving. And I think the best explanation for that is the Earth is a ball spinning in relation to the celestial bodies.
No,
Is
what
that the
I
only
heard,
explanation?
what I heard you just say is that you're admitting that the intangible alleged objects that we see in the sky probably are projections, and this is indeed a confined.
No, I did not admit that. I said it doesn't matter if they are because their motion indicates that there is motion somewhere.
Okay, motion of light or motion of objects, and is light even an object?
What example? Do we want to get into the nature of light? Do we really have misunderstandings that run this deep? When I say we, I'm talking about the flat earthers, and I'm being facetious. I don't really mean me, I mean you.
Well, all I know is that the things that are in the sky that you use to gauge shapes of the ground are not reachable, not touchable. We don't even know what they are. They very well could be
But
projections.
they are there,
But they are there, but they could be projections that could be being
and they
projected
are
up there.
moving.
Well, they could be. We don't know what causes that motion. We really don't know.
It doesn't matter. Their motion suggests that there is motion occurring. And
Yeah, but their motion.
the best explanation for that motion is that the Earth's a ball and it's
If you
spinning
assume
in
it's a ball.
relation to them.
If you make all those ridiculous assumptions, yes, that could work for you.
The only assumption that I'm making is that motion is relative, right? So if you see motion, either you're moving, the object's moving, or you're both moving. Those are the three options. And they're
Okay,
not
but
mutually exclusive.
but we don't know if these things are objects. So you're assuming that
matter. It doesn't matter if they're objects.
It totally matters. If they're a
Why?
hologram that's not an object, it can be it can be shot this way, that way in the sky.
But no, it
could.
can't. The only way a hologram could be shot this way and that way in the sky is if that there are sensors all around us, surrounding the entire observable universe, creating them. And that is an even more fantastical and complex explanation.
That's a lot simpler of an explanation, that we live inside of an enclosed dome
So
that's
where
controlled
does
outside. A lot more explainable than
yeah,
infinite.
that's extremely complicated. You have a lot of explaining to do.
A
How
lot
would
less
that explain? How would that explain what we see better than the Earth is a ball spinning in relation to objects? Like why?
Not necessarily better, but
Holographic technology is understood.
it's a 50-50 shot that it's a hologram or that it's what you say. It really is.
No, it's not a
Yes.
50-50 shot.
Yes, it is. You just conceded to it. It's a 50-50 shot that it is.
No, in what way did I concede that?
You're admitting that you don't know. You're admitting that the objects in the sky are intangible. You've already admitted to that.
You don't know that.
No, I didn't say that. I said it doesn't matter. I said the only important part of that point is the motion.
Motion of what? Motion of undefined alleged object.
Motion is relative, so it doesn't matter what's moving. The point is that there is motion. I would like you to accept that.
Yeah, there's motion of something. I can't say that those somethings are physical.
Right. Okay. What's the best explanation for that motion in your mind?
God.
What is God doing to create that motion?
It's a mystery.
All right.
God
Well,
is the prime mover according to Aristotle.
I think we have a pretty open and shut case in this situation, because that's not a very good argument.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about the religious dogmatism of flat earthers. They're simply dogmatists who believe what they believe because they want to believe it, and there's no force on earth that would ever change their mind.
You believe the sun's a physical object because you want to believe it, because you're a dogmatist.
No.
You're dogmatic about your scientific beliefs. You can't prove the sun's a physical object, Brenda. You know you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you cannot.
VB,
but
they make up their mind on according to consensus. That's why they believe what they believe.
I make up my mind according to truth.
According to consensus.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about Brenda.
According to truth.
No, you don't, Brenda.
So what consensus am I going along with here?
What, the ballers?
Right. What have I said that's part of the consensus?
Everything.
Nothing I said, it comes from mainstream science. Those are all observations that every human on the planet can make.
So you feel yourself moving?
Did I say that? Did I say that?
No, I'm asking you the question though. That's one of your senses, right? So
one of my other senses is vision.
Okay, but is that the only explanation?
Do you feel yourself moving in a car?
Of course.
Not when it's moving at a constant speed, you don't.
When I'm in a jet plane, I don't feel I'm moving.
If you're going around a track, you're going around it, you wouldn't feel that?
Yeah, but okay, going straight.
You're going around.
If
You're not
you
going
are
straight.
moving at a constant
You're
speed,
moving on an
in a
elliptic,
state,
and that's
in a-
impossible anyway. 'Cause
if
the-
you're
the
moving,
elliptic
if you're
is-
moving at a
you have to
state
change
of if you're moving at a state of equilibrium, you cannot feel the motion. You have to be accelerating to feel the motion. The Earth is
What
not
does-
accelerating.
What does motion in a car have to do with objects that are so far away we will never substantiate them? Never.
It doesn't have anything. We
It
changed
doesn't. It doesn't. That wasn't part of the point.
Free brought up a different topic. Try to keep up.
You
I
can't
mean,
feel
obviously,
motion.
I mean, you have your opinion, so I mean, it's
No, I don't have
Yes.
opinions. I have facts and truth.
okay. I mean, I'm not trying
All
to change
of the-
anybody's mind. I just want people listening to.
I
Yeah,
am
that's
trying
fine.
to
Their own
change
decision.
people's minds. All of the things that I said are things that every human on the planet can observe. And I think the best explanation for these observations is that the Earth is a ball and it's spinning in relation to these objects. That doesn't say anything else about where the ball is, where the other objects are, how big they are, what they are, anything. It just
I mean,
says that the Earth is a ball
That's cool.
and it's spinning in relation to them.
All those
Yeah.
factors about the size and motion and speed of those alleged objects are your whole argument depends entirely.
No,
on
it
them.
doesn't. No, it
Yes.
only depends on the observations that I mentioned, which is that the celestial bodies go below the horizon and come back up from behind it on the opposite side every single day. This
Yeah, but
happens
you're-
over and over again.
And the
I don't
only
know how-
explanation for that is the Earth is spinning. That's what you're saying.
I think that's the best explanation.
You think that's okay? So there is other explanations. That's what.
Yes,
I'm
and I
trying to
don't
get
think they're as good. We can talk about them if you like and go into why I don't think they're as good. That's what the debate's for.
This debate's going to rage on forever because of the fact that you guys cannot
No,
prove.
it'll shut down in
It'll-
2 hours flat.
It'll rage on for you forever because you're a dogmatist and you will never accept anything that goes contrary to your orthodox dogmatic beliefs. But for
It's going
other
to rage
people,
on
but
because
other
you're a
people,
dogmatist.
but
doesn't
other
conform
people,
to orthodox.
but other people will understand and come to realize the truth and the facts of the matter.
About your
And they will
assumptions.
not-
Yeah.
No, and they will
with
not
no proof.
They will not be swayed
Yeah.
by your lies.
They'll conform to your
You're a
assumptions
liar.
because they're chicken
No.
shits.
We
Yeah.
didn't make any assumptions. Lewis didn't make any assumptions. He made observations.
He made beliefs.
Yeah,
Those were
what did-
observations. Do
Those are
you
just
disagree?
observations.
Do you disagree that the sun goes behind the horizon and returns from underneath the horizon every single day, and the moon does
Yep.
the same thing?
Yeah, I do
All
agree
right.
with you. On
What do you see them doing?
Well, I think, and this is just what I think because
I
Just
want to know
like-
what you see.
just like VB was saying,
I
like
want
I,
to know what
I don't
you
know what the
see.
sun is.
I made
Okay.
observations.
Here's my belief: it's circling around us, and when we see it pass by our horizon, go over the horizon, it's just due to perspective. It's moving away from us.
Why doesn't it get
That's my
smaller
point.
then? Why doesn't it
Huh?
get smaller then? A lot of the time, it actually gets larger the closer it gets to the horizon.
We don't even know what it is, so we can't explain its behavior.
It doesn't matter.
I have my beliefs on it. I believe atmospheric lensing. There's all kind of factors that could go into it, but bottom line, I don't know what the sun is.
That could go
Well,
into
and
it.
So you don't know.
That does
You
go
just
into it.
believe. You don't know. You just believe, and
No,
that's
that's
what I've been
my
saying.
that is
You
my
You don't
Alright.
care.
that's my
You don't care about the
hypothesis.
facts. You don't care about the facts. You don't care
Where's
about
the facts?
You
I
just
want
want
to see some facts.
The facts are that the sun goes beneath the horizon and is obscured by it every
Well, I
single
mean,
time.
We both disagree on what the horizon really is, so
No, it doesn't.
get into
No,
all that.
okay, let's come to an agreement on what the horizon is. It's where the ground meets the sky, right?
Yeah, your false horizon. No, your false horizon, not a physical horizon.
You can call it whatever you want. The point at which the ground
big
meets the
difference.
sky, the point at which the ground meets the sky, the sun passes behind every single day. And on the
Yeah,
opposite end, and the opposite end of the ground in the sky, it returns
Yeah,
every time.
it
So does the
passes over the
star.
horizon just like ships and everything else. So it's
Not just like ships, because unlike the sun, we can go build ships and touch them.
exactly.
Exactly, Lewis.
What does that support? What does that demonstrate?
Because it demonstrates that you don't know what the sun is. So the sun could be doing all kinds of wacky.
Why do I need to?
Because the sun could be an object that or intangible. It could be anything that you don't know what it's
Why
doing.
does it matter if it's intangible? It's something we can see.
Reducing, it could be tricking your eyes this whole time, and you're sitting there acting like you know what it is, like
So
it's some
you
kind
think
of miserable
so
thing.
you don't trust
Miserable thing. You don't know what it is. You can't define it. That's why all your shit is assumptions, Lewis and Brenda.
so you don't trust reality.
You know, define the reality of the sun. You've never been there. You
I
cannot.
said,
The sun.
The
Flat
sun
earthers hate
is a
facts.
light in the sky.
Flat
The
earthers
sun
hate
is-
the facts. They hate the truth.
the sun
They love
behaves.
lies. Flat
It
earthers
does.
love the lies. They hate the truth.
The
One at a
sun
time, please. Can you just go one at a time?
Flat
Lying
earthers hate the truth and they
You
love
are
the
lying.
lies.
by saying that you know what the sun is. You don't know what
it's
the sun
a
is.
ball of light in the sky. I assume that the sun is a ball of light in the sky.
I assume. Okay. I assume.
Right. That's
Going-
one assumption. That's
That's
one
what it-
assumption.
They hate to say I don't know. They can't say I don't know.
Well, that's what assumptions are for. When you can't know.
Or you can
Yeah,
say I
but-
don't know.
So what issue do you take with the
What does it look
assumption
like?
that the
Doesn't
sun
it-
is a ball of light in the sky?
Does it look like a triangle?
It looks like that.
Does it look like a triangle?
But in order to
Like-
know how it moves and behaves, you would have to really know what it is, man. So it's like
Why?
No, we don't.
kind of simple.
No, you don't have.
I don't have to. There are all sorts of things that I don't really know and what they are, and I don't need to in order to explain their motion.
I mean, really, wouldn't you have to triangulate something to find out where it's at and how it's moving? And we
Not
can't even
really.
do that. We don't know where this. We don't know
Well,
what the sun
a lot
is,
of
where
us-
it's at.
A lot of us
I'll
have
just
an
leave it at that.
intuitive grasp of how to do that just by looking at an object. And we make assumptions about what we're seeing in order to do that. And I'm not questioning your assumptions. I find
mean,
I find it very odd that you question my assumption that the sun is simply a big light in the sky.
I'm not questioning that.
What do you think it is?
So what's the issue?
The issue is all your beliefs are they come about. They came to you from school and how you was indoctrinated. That's where you got
don't
them
know
from.
that. How do you know that? How do you know what my past is? You don't.
You're repeating.
I haven't made any claims about your past.
You're repeating
You
everything.
told me you went to school. What are you talking about? We talked about school like 3 debates ago.
I mean,
We was talking a lot about
I can
school,
tell
so I know
you,
went to
I can
school.
tell you that I thought the Earth was a ball before I ever went to school, which was at about 8.
You went what?
I
Yeah,
didn't
right.
start going to school until I was about 8 years old.
Okay. That's hard to believe, but
Why?
not about no.
There are people who are homeschooled their entire
no.
lives.
I'm not talking about that. That's cool. What I'm saying is that you would actually believe that you lived on a ball without just going outside and looking out and looking and observing.
I did. I was born into this world. And again, this is entirely irrelevant from the points that I made initially. This is how I came to the conclusion, though, that the sun is a ball of light in the sky, and this is something that anybody at any age can see. They don't need to know what it is.
Big science themselves claim that the sun and the light that it emits is constantly fluctuating.
Right. And that doesn't matter because as a small child, I understood very basic things about motion. And that if something else is moving, it either means I'm moving, it's moving, or we're both moving.
Do you disagree with that?
So where's your Rhodes scholarship?
Do you disagree with the laws of relativity that I just laid out? The 3 options that you are forced with when you see something moving.
Yeah, but you don't. You're assuming that
You do disagree. So you do. You said, yeah. Do you disagree?
you're assuming that the sun is a quote thing, and
It
that's
doesn't
that was-
matter. It
I think
doesn't
that was an
matter.
assent. I think
because that's very important.
see, this is the dogmatism and the intransigence in
I know you're
of the
dog.
flat earthers. You don't want to believe in facts or the truth. You just want to believe.
Yeah, your beliefs and your dogmatism is rather hideous. I agree, Brenda.
I'm not a dogmatist at all. I believe in truth.
You're 100% dogmatist that believes in nothing but assumptions about intangible
So
alleged objects.
what do you disagree that if you see something moving, it's you are either moving or it is moving or you're both moving? Do you disagree with that?
But when you start saying that the sun is one of those
Do
quote
you disagree
things,
with that? Answer the question.
no, we have a big problem when you start saying the sun is a quote thing.
Just agree or disagree with that statement.
I agree with that, but I'm not going to agree with
All
the
right,
fact that
great. All right, okay.
those things. See, now you want to conflate and say that the sun is one of those things, and since you agreed
Right,
to that,
right.
then
I do. I think it.
a thing. The sun
I
is
think
not a
it's
thing.
I think it's a reasonable assumption to assume that the sun is behaving just like all of the other things that I see, because I don't have any examples of intangible objects that appear to be moving, but in fact are not.
I don't
Holograms.
even know what an intangible object is. A contradiction.
Holograms are confined within the cameras that project them.
So it could be the sun.
So explain where the cameras are that are causing the sun to appear.
I know just as much as you do, and that's why this debate rages
All
on
right,
forever.
okay. Your explanation requires far more explanations and variables than mine does.
Really, you
And
talk
by
about
Occam's razor, I think that my explanation is far easier to understand and more useful.
yeah, okay. So galaxies, universes, black holes, dark matter, gravity,
Did
all
I
the
mention any of those? Did I mention any of those?
inherent parts of your argument and
Did
assumptions
I?
and dogma.
No, they're not. They were not. I didn't
they are.
mention them at all. I didn't even hint towards them.
You're saying what's more confusing? What's more? Yeah.
About the sun. About the sun.
What about the sun? You can't.
That was my contention with the sun, and I defined it as a ball of light in the sky, which I would go further and assume is an object, because all of the other objects that I have in my experience behave in a very specific, predictable way. And I don't see a reason to think that this big luminary in the sky is doing something different. Why would it?
Well, that's your assumptions. You admit that you're assuming, and that's the root of all this.
What are your assumptions?
I assume that there's a creator, and that the creator works in divine and mysterious ways that we cannot comprehend. End of story.
So God just magics the sun. God just it's just.
So I mean that you wouldn't deny that that is dogma, and that is also
Creator
religious.
is intangible, VB.
That's just orthodoxy. You're just an orthodox dogmatist.
You're going to live by that sword. You're going to die by that sword.
So validation boy
You're dying by it.
just says that God magics the sun. That's his answer. God magics it.
It's a lot better than gravity.
Can't tangibilize it.
It's not. It's actually much worse, because we have predictions that we can make from the assumptions we make about the world based on observations. Your assumptions, what can you predict from the assumption that God made everything and the sun and works in ways that you can't understand?
I don't need to predict.
Nothing.
The creator has
You can't predict anything.
He just
You guys
needs to
can't predict
believe.
anything.
Well, you know, it's nice. It's nice that you don't.
The biggest thing in the world. Your
He
egos
just
are.
needs to believe. Hey,
Well,
It's
Valdez,
all.
did you say you know the sun is not real? Did you say you know the sun is not real, BB?
God.
Did you say you know the sun is not real, validation boy?
You hate God. That's what this is all about, really. That's what
BB.
this really is. You guys
BB, can you not hear me?
You
So
hate the fact that you were created.
We've been joined by
Creators, you
Curved
wanna-
Water. Good to have you here, Curved.
Thanks, Nathan. Validation boy, can you answer the question, please? Did you say you know the sun is not real?
I don't know what the sun is. You guys make all these assumptions. You
Do
know
you
what.
know the sun is not real? Did you not say that?
I don't know. I mean,
Do
What-
you
what was-
know? Did you
Tangible, really?
say? Did
was he
you
trying to-
say you know the sun is not real?
I don't know what the sun is. That's my official stance.
Yes or no? Did you say you know the sun is not real?
I can assume, just like you assume the sun is real, I can assume it's not. I was just part of an argument. I could assume it's not real.
Did you
Why would you assume
say
that?
yes or no? Did you say you know it's not real?
Yeah,
Here's the
answer
point.
his question. Yeah, answer his
Flat
question, though.
I'm going to ask it till he answers it.
They
I
love
don't care
to
if the
lie.
show's 10 hours
Flat
over.
earthers are liars. They hate the truth. They hate facts. They love
And
lies.
this particular piece of stuff right here is constantly getting caught out like this. Constantly. And look at him running away from the questions, shying away. Can't give a simple yes or no. You're
Legitimate
intangible, BB. You're intangible. You're unreal.
Bro, you're funny, Curvewater. You're a funny guy, bro.
You
Well,
should cry
Valid,
more.
did you say that you know the sun is intangible?
Yeah, the sun is an intangible, alleged object. 100% fact right there.
So you would say that you know that.
I know that the sun is an intangible, alleged object.
How do you claim to have that knowledge? Have you been there to touch it to make sure that it's not touchable?
No, but I can never.
So
do
you
that.
can't know. You can't know.
Neither can you.
Right, exactly. So how can you claim to know that it's not tangible?
I know that I will never be able to prove that it is tangible. That's what my claim is.
That does so absence of evidence is evidence of absence for you?
I guess if that's how you want
No,
to.
they simply don't
Okay.
even care about the facts or the truth.
I mean,
They love their lies. They love
so
their
like
lies.
as Brenda said, perhaps a little bit more crassly than myself,
Yes.
you are a dogmatist, and it does come down to God and religion for you.
It comes down to that for every single person in this panel right now.
Not really.
Yeah, you wouldn't be here unless God created you.
Intangible.
You wouldn't be here unless God created material work.
God just magics the sun.
Intangible validation,
Just
boy.
magic.
Intangible.
Have fun with your
God-
egos. You are God. Thinking that you're,
Intangible.
God,
thinking that
God
you're
just magics the sun.
so big.
The
Intangible.
Big Bang is not magic.
Say validation boy. Can God?
The
can
Big
God
Bang is
take
magic,
over?
right?
No,
Exactly.
it's not.
That's
No.
not magic.
Magics the sun. No, it's not.
Right, Mr. Nutwood. Something from nothing.
So believing in a creator is magic, but believing in nothing came from nothing, something came from nothing. That's
It's
that
a
makes
less
sense.
it's a less reasonable assumption from my point of view to assume that God is responsible for all the things that you can't explain.
And that comes
Whereas we have a series of assumptions and explanations for all of the things that we see, and we use induction and deduction to
And they
get
came
to
from
those
nothing.
assumptions. And we can
No.
predict a large number of things using that, but you can't predict very much by saying God made everything and works in ways we don't understand, and this stuff just is.
How do you predict something? Something came from nothing. You can predict with that.
Well, that's not a
That makes sense.
prediction. That's not a prediction.
It's a stupid statement. That's
Yeah.
all.
Well, I mean, you just that's what you just said, man. You talking about predicting something. Why'd you even throw that into the
Right.
argument?
The technology
You
that we
brought
have
it
in the
up.
world comes from the exact assumptions that we're making here. We just haven't gotten to all of the rest of the assumptions that have brought the world through the Industrial Revolution and the printing press and all this other stuff. We haven't gone into that. But
What does
those
it have to do
are
with flat
in the
Earth
same
or
way,
globe?
epistemologically, those assumptions are the same as the assumption that God made everything and works in ways you don't understand. But our epistemology is far more useful.
no. Why are we even having this debate? So the thing is that
Well,
you use science to prove your dogmatic religious faith. Okay. And
I
the
do
thing
not
is,
have a dogmatic religious faith that I've brought up.
it's
They
called
use
heliocentric.
scientism.
This is
Not
not a
science.
debate. This is not a debate.
Scientism.
This is just BB going off with his baseless assertions and accusations.
Like baseless assertions.
can Jesus? Can
Like
Jesus fly?
like anything
Can
you
Jesus?
claim, BB.
Can Jesus
Everything you
fly?
claim is baseless.
The bigger
VB? Can Jesus
is
fly?
this frame of reference. We shouldn't even be having this discussion because the story, the end of the bottom line of this whole story is that you and your
Well,
egos, that there is no God. That's
if you don't think we should have the discussion, then why are you here? Because we do think we should have the discussion.
Yeah. We'll talk to free-minded. See ya.
very limited parameters. Very limited parameters of thought.
See ya.
Of course. In order to make an assumption at all, you have to restrict the parameters as much as you can so that that assumption encapsulates the smallest amount of things as possible.
So your argument lives on assumptions. You concede to that. Your entire
But it's about how
we just said.
useful those assumptions are. It's about how useful they are.
And he's
I
out
don't
here
know what-
complaining about where the argument is right now when he's the one that drags it here every single time.
You seek to the way you're seeking to apply this, the end goal you're trying to reach is basically that of nihilism and hating God and not having faith that there's a
You know,
I haven't
believe in
said
God,
anything.
You believe in God and accept a global Earth.
the shape
I
of
don't
the
know
earth is
how-
not a
Millions of religious people believe the Earth is round.
How can you make the assumption that not only I don't believe in God, but that I hate him based off of what I've said? Because I haven't mentioned him in any way.
because you keep going back to your scientism.
You brought
you're-
this?
No, I haven't. I go back to the very basic assumptions required to deduce that the earth is round, and we haven't really moved from those. It's about how many assumptions I make compared to other people and how useful those assumptions are. The fewer assumptions, the better, and the more useful they are, the better.
Okay,
How about
useful.
facts?
What do you
Well,
use?
facts are what the assumptions are based off of.
What's useful about your alleged information, about your assumptions? What's so useful about them?
Well, I could, for example, if I had more money and influence and stuff, I could manufacture things based off the assumptions I make. Whereas your assumptions, I know he's gone, but your assumptions are that God made everything and works in ways that you can't understand. What can you build from that? Absolutely nothing.
He's back.
Curb Water keeps trying to boot me or something from the conversation because he doesn't
No,
like.
it's just your mobile phone. It's just
What
the
a piece of
connection.
crap. If I booted you, you couldn't have rejoined, you ignorant freaking piece of crap.
See how you think. Curb
You
Water?
would, validation boy, be fair. You would have known if he booted you.
He's just a complete asshole and a liar. It's obvious. It doesn't even have to be said. Everybody knows he's a disingenuous piece of shit.
Really, I'm disingenuous by saying the fact that we've never been to the sun. Oh, I'm
You
so
just proved it. Coming in
I'm
here
such a-
trying to blame me for booting you. You know
Right, but
damn
I
well
mean,
that you would not be able to get back in
how-
if I booted you.
Oh,
Right.
Shove it
God.
up your ass.
The way you make the assumption that the sun is not tangible is far less reasonable than the assumption that I use to say that it is
Says who?
tangible. Says me, and
It's like your word against
the people listening would agree.
That's a big negative.
Well, the way I deduce that the sun is likely tangible and all the other luminaries in the sky and the celestial bodies that are not luminaries, the way I deduce that is that all the tangible objects that I have here on Earth that I can see, I can touch, and they interact with me in a specific way and respond to forces that I apply to them. And that is what makes them tangible.
Very sorry to Lou. I'm just going to do a quick plug. So if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page that you are currently watching on mute, simply click on the link below this video to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. In this instance, there's quite a few people on the panel already, but you're free to challenge them regardless of your views. If you have not done so already, please share the show. And once again, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Mysterious magical force doing it rather than a really fast tangible object with lethal velocity.
You can touch a moving bullet. People do it all the
You
time.
can't touch
Yeah, they do.
magnetism. You can't
Right,
touch
but you couldn't
touch
catch
radio.
it, right? You couldn't
can't
know
touch
that it's
radio.
there.
You can't touch radio. You can't touch the light coming from the light bulb in your room.
Radio can be measured. It can be seen. It can be physically unlockable.
Yeah, you can do experiments
the
and
sun
all
So
that.
you'll make assumptions. You'll make
All of
assumptions to trust telemetry to measure radio waves and electromagnetism, but you won't extend that same exact type of assumption towards the luminaries and celestial bodies in the sky.
It's not
Nope,
even
because-
an assumption.
Because
It's not an assumption.
they're way too far away.
The sun can be measured. It can be radar ranged, or they shot
What did you just
radio
say?
waves off of it.
Have you ever touched a really big cargo ship in the ocean?
What about a bird in the sky, validation boy? When you see a bird flying by, do you have to assume it's intangible because you can't touch it, you moron?
It's possible for me to touch all those things. It's not possible for me to touch the moon or the sun.
But it's not possible. It's not possible to touch that bird. It's not possible to touch that thing.
If you don't
There are
touch that
things.
bird, you're
There are
saying it's
things.
not real.
There are lots of
moron.
things that you can see, but you cannot touch. And so when you would go find it, you would never know, is it the same one? And am I subject to some sort of trick of nature once again?
Okay, these things, if you put enough effort and had the funding and whatever, you could touch these things. No matter what funding, no matter what effort you ever
Same
put.
is true of the sun. Same is true of the sun.
Same is true of the sun and the moon and all these other things.
And
Absolutely.
Mars and Jupiter and Saturn.
Show me an example of them doing that.
Your argument's
Well-
garbage, BB. Give it up.
It's not garbage. You're just jealous, Curvewater. You're just jealous that you.
The point is, we make far fewer assumptions that are far more useful than the single one that you've made, which is that God exists and does things in ways you don't understand.
Useful to who and in what way useful? Useful to who and in what way useful?
Useful to us.
So that you can prove how much you hate God?
No,
I mean,
so
what?
we can make
Wow.
technology and manipulate the world around us in a way that makes life easier.
Well, one way it's been useful for centuries has been as a means of navigating the ocean. People have used the stars and the sun as a means of navigation for hundreds of years, hundreds. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether those objects are tangible or not. They are predictable, and the people use them. And because they're predictable, they were useful to us to navigate the oceans.
So it appears that the stars are kind of fixed in our atmosphere, right?
Not
Spin
even
around
close,
us.
dude.
If
It
we're
doesn't appear that way at all.
Why would
It
you
appears
say
that
that?
they
aren't
move.
we speeding through space? So how the stars just stand pretty much the same
Well, they're
hundreds of
moving.
years after hundreds of years,
They are
They're
moving.
moving. They're moving in relation to us as well inside of our galaxy, and the
all
closest
together at
star.
the same time.
Yeah.
They do move.
What's the issue?
All at the same time, same speed. They're trillions of miles away from each other at different distances, but they're all moving
Hold
the
on.
same.
Hold
Well,
on.
yeah,
they're-
Listen to what this clown is claiming about the stars. He thinks that the entirety of the sky spins around the Earth daily. Now, tell me how all
what do you
these
think?
stars and everything do it all at the same speed. What's your argument there? Go ahead and
That's
shove
your
another one of your own.
hold on. That's your assumption.
You're a
No,
self-defeating argument. You're a self-defeating
okay, so-
argument.
What do you think the stars and the sun and what do you think is going on up there in the sky?
I mean, what I think doesn't really matter because I can't prove it.
Well, sure it
Neither can
does.
you.
No,
So-
it's
What
a subject.
assumptions? What
Why
assumptions do
are
you
we
make?
looking up to prove what's down? Why are we looking up to the stars to prove?
Look
what
at him
we
run
did.
away
Well,
from
okay,
it.
we can go back to the horizon point.
I mean, it's a stalemate because
Only in the
you don't-
epistemological
we
sense.
disagree,
that
but
all
we
make-
disagree what a horizon is. So
It's only a stalemate if you evaluate all assumptions equally, which I would posit is a fool's errand.
I wanted to bring up something about the horizon to free and then see what you think. So, as I understand it, the horizon is due to perspective, right? And you can only see that far because that's like the limit of your eyesight, right?
unless something is physically blocking it, yeah.
That's
Okay.
not true, though.
So,
That's not true, dude. It's
well,
not
I would
true.
argue,
It's
like
not true.
if that is the case, then when you increase in altitude, the horizon should stay where it is, right? Because that's the limit of your eyesight. But what actually happens when you increase in altitude, the horizon increases in distance, which tells me that it can't be a perspective.
And stays at eye level.
Tells me it's
Does
Does
not
that
stay
make,
at
does that
eye
make
level.
sense to you, Free, or not? I don't know.
That is not, it does
Yeah,
not
but-
stay at eye level. Just FYI. It's
And
bad
if you
Eric
assume,
Dubay 1.0 shit.
It
if you
doesn't.
assume that it
No.
does stay at eye level, that's just because you're looking at it. And if you go up in an airplane, if the horizon is a function of how far your eyes are able to see, why does the horizon recede away from you as you increase in elevation? Shouldn't it
Right,
stay
that's what I-
exactly where it is?
That's what I feel like. Like if the horizon is the end of your eyesight and like perspective, then it shouldn't be able to increase in distance when you increase in altitude. That doesn't make any sense, but it does make sense if the Earth is a ball. So I think that's kind of game
No, it
over.
doesn't.
Flat
I mean,
Earth. Okay.
the higher you go, the further you can see.
Right, but that
Yeah.
demonstrates
There's
it's
the
not.
But
a
not on a flat plane.
There's a
Yes,
point there,
because
pretty
the
minded.
ground is blocking. But you
No.
understand how you see in a big
Dude,
bubble.
I'll show you, dude. I'll show you.
You see in a big bubble.
There
I got
needs
a
to be a
visual.
distinction.
Understand
Hold on. There needs to be a distinction here. If the Earth was flat, then all of the things that we observe would work on the flat Earth. Okay.
They do.
This doesn't work on a flat Earth. Well, nothing works on a flat Earth. Truthfully, dude,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
They do because we live on a flat Earth. Everything works on a flat Earth.
Well,
Oh,
you can
wow.
subjectively live. You can subjectively live in whatever reality you want to, brother. But hey, look, we are people that actually look for the truth and don't stop at Eric Dubay. Okay.
I know. I want you to show me. That's all I want. I want you to show me the proof.
You
that we live on a
gotta
globe.
prove this
And
to yourself, dude.
I
You're
have.
just-
I have.
You
So
deny
you-
everything.
surely
Nobody can
you've-
prove anything to you.
Surely you've been on the top of a hill before, right? A
Yeah.
hill which is taller than any surrounding objects.
All right, keep going.
So why does the horizon obscure your view? Because surely you've also been on an airplane taller than that hill, which
'Cause
extends your field of view
the
even
higher
more.
you go up, the ground blocks less of what you can see.
But the ground isn't rising
that's on
upward.
the
The
globe.
ground
That's on the
isn't
globe.
rising
Or
upward. The ground isn't rising upward. In fact, it's going away from you, especially if you're standing on a mountain.
Well, I've
It's
never
actually
seen
going down.
Look, I got a little diagram for you. So this is what a flat plane would look like, right? An increase in elevation doesn't really give you an increase in distance that you can see. And then here,
that is very incorrect. Right?
here
That
we,
is-
here
that
we
doesn't
see
make any
around
sense.
Earth. That doesn't make sense to you.
But
Not at
P,
all.
how do
No,
we know what a
exactly.
flat Earth? How would we know what a flat Earth would look like? Let's just say it is flat, and yes, all of these things would make people think that it is a sphere. But I'm just saying, like, well, that's where they go with these atmospheric conditions, all this lensing, these opaque moisture decks, all this kind of stuff to try to explain it away. I'm just saying, man, if it's flat, then you can't say, well, this is what we would expect to see.
Well,
Not really.
I think
I think so.
P.
This
Mars's
is-
diagram,
Yeah,
his diagram does a great job of illustrating this, and we can talk
Okay,
about.
does this
we can talk- we can talk about-
diagram illustrate anything like refraction or anything like that?
It doesn't need to.
It doesn't have to. We're not talking about.
And we can
We're
get
talking
into.
about the
we can
horizon
get
one at a time,
increasing in
one at a
distance
time.
based on altitude. And this
He's-
diagram shows, because look how your vision works. It's like a cone, right? So you can see, like, when you increase in altitude on a ball, you can see further. The horizon increases. But
How come
if it's flat,
perspective is not
if
represented?
it's flat, your horizon does not increase when you increase altitude. So that's a really easy way to prove the globe to me.
Your horizon would increase. You would be able to see further on. If the Earth was flat, you would definitely be able to see further when you got up further. And I don't believe
but
that the
not-
horizon would rise to your eye level on a flat Earth either. I don't.
Why do you think that?
The same thing twice, though, Tim. You said the same thing about the ball, and you're saying the same thing about the flat Earth. So which one is it?
Why do you
What do you
think
mean?
the horizon would increase in distance based on a flat Earth if you increase altitude? Why do you think that? Because I don't think that's the case.
You wouldn't be
I'll
able
tell
to
you-
see further as you got a higher
Absolutely
perspective.
not. On a flat Earth, you could see 30 miles. You could see a candle flicker 30 miles away.
Well,
Yeah,
we can
let-
see
let-
stars trillions of miles on the heliocentric model. So what does that mean?
For the sake of argument,
there's no limit to human sight.
let's assume that instead of this being ground and brown, assume it's water. All right, and the tree is just something sticking up above the surface of the water. And then I think this argument makes much more sense.
Can I ask a quick question?
You got a
Just-
picture of stick figures, and you don't even have perspective in there.
Yeah, and
No,
they're looking
there-
like
there is
1,000. They're looking like 50,
Don't
like
you
2,000
see-
miles, dude.
It's not
Don't
supposed
you
to be.
see-
It's supposed to
don't you
just
see the cone?
demonstrate a concept. Why is that
It's
so
a proof
hard?
of concept. I totally understand,
it's
but
just
it doesn't
incorrect.
disprove the flat Earth.
It
Just
it
FYI.
does. It demonstrates how the perspective works. It demonstrates a misunderstanding
Yeah,
of
I'm pretty
perspective on the
sure-
side of the flat earthers. That's
I'm
what
pretty
it
sure
No,
does.
that- I'm pretty sure
that depiction does not do anything for anyone, okay? Because it's not
Yes, it
practical. It doesn't do anything, dude, because we can't even
Why?
see that fucking far.
It's
No
to simple.
need,
It's to
please, no
simplify. It's to
swearing.
give an example of what I'm
Tim,
talking about.
You're being real argumentative
Obtuse.
here
No,
for
I'm
no
not.
reason.
I'm not. No,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not.
are.
I'm saying, look, this is part of the problem is that you cannot depict some of these things when we're talking about the sun, moon,
He
and the
just
earth alignment.
did.
We can't.
Well, we're
No,
not talking
that's
about
not
the sun
okay.
and
You
moon. We're
can
not
depict
talking
it.
about
It
the sun
doesn't
and
mean it's going to
moon.
prove anything. It's not
We're
going to
just
prove anything.
talking about things on the surface with the concept that the ground is either flat or curved.
I'll just ask one question. Sorry to interrupt. On the first depiction, the tree curves away. And in the last debate, that was absolutely poo-pooed as not being the case.
Yeah,
Thank
like
you,
if
Nathan.
you,
Yes.
okay,
yes.
like it's like when you watch the sunset and you increase your altitude, you can bring the sun back, right? That's the same concept. Like you can't
So
zoom in on the sun
what we
and
have
bring it
to
back.
what we have to just realize is that there are 360 degrees in a circle, and if the Earth is a 25,000 mile in circumference, then about 69 miles you'll see 1 degree. So if we can see 70 miles, we can see a building, say that's 70 miles away. If it's really only going to be tilting at 1 degree away from us, it's going to be very, very, very hard to detect that. So this whole tilting thing has been debunked for a long time.
No,
you
but the
can't-
tilt
you
has to
can't
correlate with the
perceive that.
curvature.
No, you can't perceive
Well,
can't have
the
it-
building
It
tilting
does.
away
The
from you
tilt
by a
does
degree.
correlate with the
If the Earth
curvature.
is curving away,
it
the
does.
building has to curve away too.
It does.
Yeah, but
Okay,
it's,
it does.
It's 1 degree. It's 1 degree for 69 miles. Are you really telling me you're gonna see 1 degree out of
Very
360?
It's
So you can
imperceptible.
see
It's real, but it's imperceptible.
You can
And
see that
also,
we can.
to answer Nathan's question, that the scale of the drawing that PMARS was showing there, that graphic was like ridiculously like cartoonish in scale.
Yeah.
That's why it
Well,
appeared that way.
It's just
But
a
it's
little-
still
it was just supposed to be simple. It's just to prove
Right.
a point.
right.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
still
it's just-
demonstrates
I'm not
line
I'm
of
not
sight.
knocking the drawing. I'm just
It
trying
only
to
proves a
tell
point
Nathan.
how simple your depiction is. That's all. That's all it
It
proves. dude.
demonstrates how line of sight
That's what I
works.
got.
That's what it
Yeah.
No,
demonstrates.
it doesn't, because it's not
Yes, it
practical, and
does.
you know you have no predictive capability when you have a depiction where someone's looking 5,000 miles, dude. Come on.
They're not.
All right. On a flat plane, the limits of your vision are going to be angular diameter and atmospheric conditions. What else you got? Terrain, topography, or something like that. But basically, flat. If you have conditions to see, basically, the horizon does basically rise to rise to eye level. If you could see, far enough into the distance, if it wasn't blocked to where that would occur, it would rise.
I don't think so, because wouldn't that mean that, like, intrinsically you could go 10 million miles up and it would still be at eye level? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, you're not.
Right. No, that
you're
is
not
what it
gonna
would
see
mean, because it would extend away from you to infinity and approach an asymptote
We can't go
at
that
the
high.
exact midpoint of your vision.
This
We
is
can't
So
go that high.
what the whole thing with the flat Earth is, if the Earth is flat, obviously we're trying to use physics and trying to use all of these known things to try to explain it. I understand that most of us here believe it's a sphere. I'm just saying that if it is flat, then there are probably some more mysterious effects happening. I'm not proposing anything. I'm just saying
what we
we
do
probably
know
wouldn't
is-
know.
Yeah, what we
Right,
do
but-
know
and-
is the
and
horizon
the-
does not raise to eye level. So we
Yeah.
might be kind of, I don't know, is it worth continuing
The
on?
horizon
That's
isn't
the
at
The
question.
eye
issue
level.
is
Eye level
that the
standing on the ground, it's not at eye level.
the explanations given for how the same observations we make on the ball Earth could be made on the flat Earth can be disproved by other observations that we make on the Earth, demonstrating that that's not how light behaves and so on. And that's why we've studied light to the degree that we have as a species.
I understand that, and I just really wanted to point out, because I did hear Brenda kind of quacking her gums over there, is that Brenda, I hear that you say that flat earthers are liars and they're not interested in the truth, but
Yes.
really what you have to understand is that your subjective truth is different from theirs. Okay, they do have a conspiratorial bias for the most part, but you have a mainstream bias for the most part.
No, I don't have
None
a
of these experiments you have done, you just take it with faith. Okay, that's
No, that's wrong.
exactly, dude. No,
Okay,
no, it's not.
Tim, we
How
went
can you
over
not admit
that.
that?
We went over that already, and the
Truth-
degree
truth
of
is
faith that
objective,
Brenda needs
not-
is
I
far less.
just addressed Brenda, Lewis.
Yeah, and
Truth
I'm
is-
addressing you because we've already talked about this, and we just used
Well,
a
I
different
addressed
word.
Brenda. Please let Brenda address me,
We
because I just
used the
addressed
word assumptions
him.
instead of faith and dogma. We use the word
No,
assumption.
Faith, yes. You guys take a lot of the mainstream stuff on faith because I know this.
No.
Okay. I haven't done a lot of these tests myself. I can go around and tell everybody that it's a truth that stars are trillions of miles away, but do I really know that? No,
Yes,
I don't.
You do. Yes,
No,
there
I
are
don't.
there are people
How do
who
you know that,
do,
Brenda?
and they make better and more useful assumptions than we do.
Yeah, better is subjective.
Yeah,
can you just let-
based on if you find technology useful, yeah, I guess so.
Sorry, guys.
Look,
can you just
I
let-
fell into
can
the
you just let
predictive
Brenda get a word
capability
in?
rabbit hole.
Brenda's
as
been
you
really
have.
trying. She's really trying to get
go
a
ahead.
word in. Can you just let her?
Truth is not subjective. It's objective.
No,
Truth is
we've
not-
already been through this. There's a thing called subjective and objective truth, and you denied it, okay? And I told you to go look it up. There's such a thing as subjective and objective truth.
What
The
if
truth
what
has
if the
truth.
objective
Never.
truth is that a lot of people misuse the word truth?
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, okay.
It's very
So
true,
that
actually.
that could explain everything, and truth can still be objective. It's just everybody's
No, it
misusing
can still be subjective. That is the point. Okay.
No, because it's no longer truth at that point. It's just being used in the improper context.
What's most entertaining is how you make all these assumptions.
That's with the assumption. That is with a total precept that you have the ability to even
define
know
words, to define words and concepts. Yes.
No, just because something's defined doesn't mean that it's real or true or reality.
Right, but it
Flat
does
Earth
help
is
you
defined.
draw-
It's
it
not
does
true.
help you draw lines in the sand and categorize things for usefulness. So it's all
Okay.
about how useful you want your words to be.
I'm lost, I guess, with your semantics here.
You're simply. I want to push back. You're simply wrong that there's such a thing as subjective truth. You're simply wrong.
God.
It's simply false. Truth is objective. It is not dependent on my personal subjective
So
personal
are you saying that
opinions.
there's no definition for subjective truth and objective truth on this planet? There's no other people that maybe if you did a Google search one time, you would figure out that this is a discussion, a topic, a colloquial term that we all use except Brenda here on the planet Earth, right?
I
Have
would
you looked
say
it up yet?
Subjective truth is not a term that is used in epistemology or theories of knowledge.
Does that
doesn't
mean
matter.
what does that mean? What does that mean?
exactly
what?
what exactly
Why
what
don't you
Brenda
look
said.
them up and Google them, just like
No,
you
what
do?
does that mean to the argument, dude? That
It
that
means-
subjective and objective truth exists. Okay, I would argue that flat earthers, to them, flat Earth is the truth. Okay, that is their subjective truth. Now, is it
Yeah.
objective? No. Do we have more of an objective grasp on our reality? I believe so. I do with the sphere Earth.
Yeah, and that's just simply bad philosophy. That's bad epistemology.
And that is just your fucking opinion.
No, it isn't actually.
Sure.
It's
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is your
major
Come on,
opinion.
no
to the field
swearing,
of
please,
epistemology.
please, please,
Excuse me.
You're
please.
simply wrong.
Excuse me.
You're simply
But
wrong.
whose opinion is more useful? Which one can
It's
you?
neither here nor there. You guys
it is.
throw
It
me all
absolutely
these
is.
straw mans and neither
It
here nor there.
absolutely
Fucking
is.
argue.
The only thing that matters is the amount of things a person is able to do because of their point of view. The facts, I would argue, are truth, right?
What does that even mean? Something that somebody can do? The amount of things that something that. What does that mean?
Interpretations of those facts are going to be subjective.
Total gish gallop, dude.
It's
Total
not.
gish gallop. It is.
I brought up.
What does that even
like
mean?
2 points. I brought like 2 points. Gish Gallop.
What
said,
was the
like,
first point? What is the
7 or
first
8
point?
more.
What does that mean?
The first one, the facts are true. True things are facts. They're things that are everyone
That's not
can see.
true. There's
Yes, it
no.
is.
That's not even true.
Sure.
You're correct. You're correct. Well, that's his subjective truth.
Oh, so you do agree that subjective
No,
truth is a
I'm
real
not.
thing?
I'm turning
Oh
his
my.
argument against him. If you say there's such a thing of subjective truth, then it just explodes, and you can't do anything. You can't prove anything.
So is flat Earth objectively true?
No.
No, it is not. It
Okay.
is objectively
Okay.
false.
So do people go around and say that it's true?
Yes,
They're
they-
misusing the word, like I said before.
No. Do they go around and say that it's true?
They do
Yes.
go around and say it's true, and they
Is
are
it subjectively
in
true
fact,
to that
misusing the word.
individual that the Earth is flat?
No.
Okay.
No, it is
No.
not.
Okay. All right, guys. All right. We're at a crossroads then.
Because
All right.
truth is not subjective. It's objective.
It does sound like an oxymoron, I have to admit. I'm trying to think about subjective truth, and I don't
guys
really
need to go
know
look it up,
exactly
So-
how
okay?
they use it.
So,
I don't know what they mean by it, how they're trying to use it.
yeah, they're just saying that from somebody's personal perspective or opinion that this is true for them. It's something that they believe to be true.
I'm
Flat
not even
earthers,
sure it
flat
would be
earthers
considered.
believe, you know. So truth is a belief. Falsehood is a belief. All we have are beliefs and feelings. Feelings are simply states, mental states. Beliefs are propositional. Is propositional content in the mind. So
Right.
if I believe that people are living on the sun, that is a belief that I have. I am stating the proposition. People are living on the sun. I'm asserting that it is true. And so then the question is the proposition people are living on the sun true? No, it is not true. It is false. And so what Tim and P. Mars are trying to say is that it is subjectively true for me. Well, that's simply muddying the water. It is assertion that I believe it is true, but it is not in fact actually true.
Okay, so how many times, let's just say that we were back in 200 years ago, Brenda, okay? And it's me and Brenda is just a mainstream cuck like she is today, right? And she completely listens to things like the luminiferous ether and all this stuff, and it is fact to her. It is fact to her because that is the facts of the time. That is the science of the time.
That would be
Right?
an incorrect thing. All right. Now, the truth, as defined by the dictionary, is that which is true or in accordance with fact or reality. And then if you
So
go
are
and
you
look
presupposing
up,
that we have the truth?
If you go and look up subjective truth, a subjective truth is a truth based off of a person's perspective, feelings, or opinion.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I'm
they're
not
not
I've been trying to
equivalent.
tell you guys.
They are
I'm
not
saying that
equivalent. So if you just
they're
stick
not
with the word
equivalent.
truth, you are talking about facts and reality and not perspective. And so when people say that what they think is true, that is an improper use of the word.
Okay, so
No. It's everything is subjectively true to whatever belief, just like Brenda was just saying. We all have beliefs and opinions and all this kind of stuff,
Right.
and they all based on presuppositions and our worldview
Yes,
and
they're
all
all
this
based on.
nonsense.
They're not. No, it's
You've heard of the term poisoning the well, right?
all truths are subjective truth. End of story.
Yes, they are. They are.
no, they're not. No, they're
Yes.
not.
End
No.
of story.
No, this is
Poisoning
simply
the
false.
well. Poisoning the well
It's
is a
simply
type
false.
of informal logical fallacy where irrelevant, adverse information about a target
Why
is
are you reading a
preemptively
definition?
presented. Because I don't have it memorized. I just have the general idea of it memorized. And using terms like
Well,
subjective
people were
truth
talking.
is
Read to yourself.
poisoning the well.
No, it's not.
So if you say that all
You just read the
truths are
definition of subjective truth. The contention at first was there is no such thing as subjective and objective truth. I said there is. Okay, it's colloquially used. We use it. Some people don't like it. Whatever. I don't care. I'm just saying you can go look it up. It's defined.
So what is your
and
point?
that's exactly why I use it.
I don't get what your point is then. Like it doesn't help or hurt
Well,
anything.
first of all, I just reminded you that the contention was of the existence of the words. No. You just read the definition and you just proved my point that this does exist.
My initial points
and the contention was that Brenda doesn't believe that it exists.
They came down to very few assumptions, and now you're bringing into question the very nature and meaning of words, which sets us very far back. I thought we all spoke
dude.
English
You know what?
here.
We no. Me and you, when we talk, I swear, dude. You just continually straw man and just continually just neither here nor there. Everything that you can do. I don't know if you do it intentionally, but nothing you say ever is like to the point or has any relevance to what I'm saying or anything like that. You get me off track, Lewis.
What you're saying is irrelevant.
To you, that's subjective.
Right. Well, I proposed.
Who cares, dude?
I proposed the initial motion and the initial supporting arguments, and now we're talking about what do words mean. So you have derailed it.
No. Well, you are the one that are defining words, you moron. You just defined two words, and you just blamed it on me.
Damn it. It's
Well, it
about
is a
who
move.
starts the initial statement. If flat earthers had started the debate,
So
and said,
you're going to
the
waste
motion-
more
if flat
time.
earthers had
You're going to
started
waste
the
more
debate
time
and said that the
by
earth
telling
is
me I'm
flat,
wasting time.
Tim, if the flat
Really?
earthers had started the motion, it would be me
Can you
objecting
be a bigger
to their
hypocrite right now?
supporting arguments, not the other way around.
Can you be a bigger hypocrite right now? You're
You don't
wasting time.
You don't understand how the
I don't
argument
see any
works.
hypocrisy on his part.
Lewis is
Of
arguing
course
that
you
his
don't,
subject-
because you know what? It doesn't matter if you're flat or
could
round, guys.
start
You
over.
all
We could
come
start
around
over
and just
somebody
listen.
else,
Hold on.
somebody else
Do you
could- you're
understand
not
that
gonna
there's
say
words
anything
coming out of my
I
fucking
already
mouth,
know.
dude?
Just one
Don't
at
make
a
me bitch slap
time,
you
no
back to fucking
swearing.
Tuesday,
Come on,
dude.
you're
You can
doing
come
really,
try.
really well.
Come
Please.
try? Are you kidding me? You're a pixie stick, dude.
Come on.
Let Tim talk.
Excuse me, Nathan. I'm sorry. I'm just, it does get derailed, and that wasn't the point of it. Okay, I
By
just
you,
had
the joke
I
about
had brought up something contentious again, subjective and objective. I knew Brenda
And
was going to go on
erroneous.
about it. Okay,
Erroneous.
and then look. Go ahead,
I can
Lewis.
clear
Please.
all of this up.
You haven't been talking all day, Lewis. Go ahead. Just talk over me. Please go ahead. What'd you have to say, Lewis? Go ahead, buddy.
Hey Lou. All right, so we got the what did we talk about? The horizon. That was
Well-
one of your points.
We can go back to the
Stars.
horizon. That's fine.
What was your
That
other
was
one?
one.
Let's go to something else, bro. What was the other?
All right.
three?
My
Was it
my
three of
first
them, right?
point.
What's the other one?
My first point was the motion of celestial bodies. Validation boy said intangible. We can take that one back up again. The second one was horizon, and the third one was sort of part of the celestial bodies because it's the revolving celestial points and the different directions that they rotate depending on which hemisphere you're in.
We've
So
been
the
joined
measurement
by-
of curvature is not one of your proofs.
Been joined
No.
by Music Man. If we could just say a quick hello. How you
Okay.
doing, Music Man?
Good
No
evening,
further
campers.
questions.
Good to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Silent. Wow.
How come measurable curve is not one of your points?
Because it's not needed.
Oh my goodness. Look, there's measurable curve everywhere we look, dude.
There
Okay.
is, but it's not.
Show
It
me.
wasn't one of my
Who's
initial
Nichios?
arguments. It's not needed for when it wasn't mentioned in the initial three arguments that I made, which is what he asked for.
Nietzsche's cool.
As for
Nietzsche's
the the motion, you say it's shown in the stars above us. So I've been pickling with something myself today. Actually, they say the stars change over the course of the night because of the rotation of the Earth. Yes.
yes.
So let's say, for instance, in 3 hours, if you're on the equator, we've rotated 3,000 miles. Yes.
Roughly.
Yeah.
So laterally, the stars in the heavens above us have moved from left to right or right to left, depending on which way you're facing over those 3 hours. Yeah.
Kinda.
So let's go forward 24 hours. Those stars will be in the same place, yes, and do the same action.
No. Not exactly.
Virtually they would, but it would be ever so slightly different because you have moved.
Sidereal day is a little better for that.
It's
So we
about
have moved, yes. We've moved
Four.
roughly in 24 hours in our orbit around the sun, actually over 1.5 million miles. So if in 3 hours you can detect a difference by the rotation, why?
Yep.
God.
Then why then in
Wow.
24
Have you-
hours?
Yeah.
All right.
Go on
I
then.
got you. But go on.
Draw it
Finish.
out.
Yeah, why then in 24 hours the stars return to the same place if we've moved more than 1.5 million miles?
Great
Well,
question.
for the same reason that when you're standing on one end of a gymnasium or a really big gymnasium, if you turn like this,
No, if
you
you
see
listen-
no.
I know
If
what you're
you
saying.
turn-
Yes,
if-
you're
hey.
saying- No, never mind. Hey.
I'm
You
answering
look
your
at
question.
He
I'm
was
answering your
talking-
question.
You've misunderstood my question.
Welcome to the Lewis
No,
Show.
I haven't. I haven't
You have,
misunderstood your
because
question.
you're talking about rotation.
I'm not.
You're
Yes,
talking about rotation.
rotation was part of your question.
You're talking about rotation from the viewpoint. I said the stars move laterally.
Yes, because the
So
Earth
exactly.
is
If
rotating.
we've
The
moved
Earth is
laterally
rotating.
on that
The
orbit
Earth is
over 1.5
rotating.
miles,
The Earth is rotating, and where straight ahead is changes over that
it does
time.
not add up.
It's not a
It does.
question.
It does
just
add up.
just say
You're
geometry,
asking-
just say
You're
distances. That's
asking
all that it
Tim,
is.
Tim, did he ask you?
He didn't
He's-
exactly necessarily ask you.
So I asked
Well, he
This
did.
man is making a
actually.
statement with this question. It's not
So,
a question. He's trying to make a
Does
statement.
your question, statement, whatever, was why do the stars move laterally as the Earth is rotating? But they're back in the same spot, even though we've moved distance that is not rotation around the sun. Well, the reason is that if you're in a gymnasium and you're spinning like this, you see a different portion of the gymnasium as you spin. But if you are spinning and walking in a small circle in that gymnasium, those positions virtually, as you complete your rotations, don't change. It's the same. It's the distance.
Next day, you would
the
be in a
objects.
gymnasium 1.5 million miles away.
Right, but
No.
we're assuming that the gymnasium encompasses
No, the gymnasium
totality of the
moved
universe.
the
No, we are assuming that the gymnasium is the size of the universe here.
Yeah, no, the gymnasium.
I hope that you connect the dots here.
No,
You're
he's
missing
not
out.
connecting the
Music,
dots,
man.
Lewis.
You're
You gotta
saying you're
scale.
stood on the gymnasium and you're turning. So the gymnasium in this situation is the Earth. So the next day, that
No. The gymnasium. You are the Earth in this situation.
Okay, if I'm the Earth, where is the reference of you coming from?
You're on the Earth.
You just.
This is why stupid examples don't make any sense. Look, dude, stars are really freaking far away, okay? And if you think about geometry, it all works, and it's very predictive. It all works. It's beautiful, okay? Yes, it absolutely does, okay?
No, it
The Earth
doesn't.
is a sphere. I'm sorry to tell you, dude. It's time to grow up and grow out of this little
Aberration.
phase you're through.
No, because aberration was only proved by it took until Einstein to come along in 1902 with his theory of special relativity to even prove gravity.
You're asking why.
Does that have to
your
do with
question-
anything?
Your
That doesn't
question
even sound
has
true.
to do with parallax. Your question has to do with parallax in the stars. As we go,
Stereoscopic parallax.
Right,
Yes, I understand what that is.
as we go around the sun, right? The totality of this distance across the sun,
So
which
this
is
the second one.
which is the totality of the distance that we move, and you would expect there to be a wobble in what we're seeing, but the distance away from us that the stars are is hundreds of thousands times greater than the distance we're moving back and forth around the sun.
That's all
How
it
do you know
needs to
that?
be said.
Yet
That's
in 3
what the
hours-
model predicts, dude. Okay, there's a
Um,
geocentric and a heliocentric model, all of which is compiled with observation.
My apologies to Tim, as I'm going to cut him off to do a quick link, as there is about 15 minutes left on this broadcast. So if you did want to join the show to do any trolling, now is your opportunity to do exactly that. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to join, there is a link in the info box below this video with the page you are currently watching on mute. Simply click on that link to join the debate and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. And number 2, if you are ejected for swearing, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. My massive thanks goes out to the people who have donated to the super chat. If you did want to donate to the super chat, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. Once again, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. With that, I'll transition you back to the action.
Day, like they couldn't predict the exact time and place the shit would occur like we can now.
And
So-
how did they predict it? What did they use to calculate this stuff?
That's right.
I think
And it
like
took them-
well,
it
okay,
took-
like astronomy was really important in
Sextant.
ancient China, right? Like
It's always been
like the astronomers who like couldn't predict the eclipses correctly in China were like executed and shit, and like so like I can't remember how, but they figured out, they noticed that like when the Earth and the Sun were in a certain position, that the eclipse would occur. It took them a while, and a lot of astronomers dying before they figured this shit out. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I read about this shit, but we can predict this stuff way more accurately now than they could in the past. So like it's kind of a misnomer for these people.
I think if the average flat earther could just conceptualize that there is an observable celestial sphere that does work in conjunction with the latitude and longitude system, and they go and prove that to themselves, very important step for flat earth, because most flat earthers that I've talked to over these 3 years, they don't even know that. I mean, literally, when I first read my practical astronomy book, one of them, literally, within a day, I knew it's just very basic stuff that they're
You said-
completely missing because they only watch flat Earth content.
You said something in a chat today that I wholeheartedly agree with, Tim, is when you said like flat earthers will say that you can't replicate the Cavendish experiment without even trying to replicate it.
Yeah.
And if flat earthers simply would just do the Cavendish experiment, that could solve a fuckload of
Let's get let's get FE Core. Let's get FE Core to do the Cavendish because we can throw the dude was in a shed and whatever, we can throw all that in, but really it's like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, dude. If it's not repeatable, then it's not science.
It's only going to cost.
That's a good
It's only
idea.
going to cost $500, maybe $1,000, and that's a very reachable goal. People have thrown $7,000 towards a sticker that's going to go on a steam rocket that's going to go less high than.
But Lewis, Glowbusters, dude, Glowbusters had a $20,000 ring laser gyro, in which they used it right and proved the luminiferous ether. They didn't prove the 15 degree or whatever per hour or of precession or whatever. They proved that the ether exists. So yeah, even if they do get this Cavendish even running, they're going to have some alternate explanation for what it is.
Which is why I say that they're liars.
Right, but if they show it,
they deliberately
and spell it out.
falsify. They deliberately. Can I be heard?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, now you can.
They deliberately falsify the results of their experiments. They do it deliberately. It's deliberate and malicious.
How do you know that?
Some of them. Let's not say all of them. Let's just say some of them. Some of them got under the inkling that the Earth is flat, and then they go out, they do tests, they get basically things that confirm their bias, and that's what we see a lot with flat Earth, right? But yes, it seems like the Glowbusters. It seems like some of these people at this point, it has to be malicious, Brenda. It has to be.
Yeah.
There's no other excuse.
I think so.
It sounds like you're talking about yourselves, really. I mean, that's how I think about you guys.
We're talking specifically about Jeranism and Glowbusters right now.
I like flat earthers, but I do not like the main content providers like Nathan Oakley, Patricia Steer, Mark Sargent.
What's wrong with Nathan?
I think Nathan is just as bad as them. But yeah, I don't know. I like because I think they're all lying. I don't even think they're flat earthers. Like I'm cool with people who are genuine flat earthers, but I don't like these disingenuous flat earthers like Anthony Riley and stuff.
The thing is,
I would say Anthony Riley, people like IPS.
All of you just take your information from academia, yet academia is constantly changing its theories anyhow. Like, for instance, the speed of light is no longer a constant.
As new things come, as new things are observed and cancel out old lines of thought and predictions, then yeah, they have to. They do.
That is kind of
happening. That doesn't happen with flat earthers. When flat earthers go into experiments,
because flat earthers start looking at the world for themselves rather than take information from textbooks.
Well, all the experiments they've done do not comport.
Well, I've done
the ones everyone else
does. Flat earthers switch their bias from science and mainstream towards flat earthers. Okay, that's it.
Music man, why did you make the statement that the speed of light is no longer a constant? Can you explain that, please?
Because physicists are saying it no longer is. They say it changes by an unquantifiable amount.
In what conditions? Okay, I'll answer the question for you. The speed of light in a vacuum is considered the constant. Okay, that is not considered to be the speed of light constantly in all situations.
That's coming from your mouth, and you're hardly a physicist who writes textbooks.
Well, I mean,
none of us are. None of us are physicists here.
Now, I was able to answer the question. You were not able to. Don't try to impugn me like that. You're the one asking the questions and making the stupid statements.
But you failed, Curved Water.
Go ahead and bring a citation. Bring a citation to back up what
you're parroting a physicist of the last century.
Let's just say that we are. Let's just say that we are parroting, okay? But the thing is, let's say that we are parroting. But if we're parroting something that is true and you're parroting something that is false from flat earthers, which is better, dude? I don't understand.
And beyond that, as far as parroting goes, he is making the claim that it's the scientists that are saying this, and that is false. He cannot bring any evidence to support what he said they're saying. If he tried, he would find the answer to be what I told him.
This kind of goes back to the outlining point I was trying to say to Brenda, is that yes, if we lived 200 years ago, some of these things that are ever evolving in science, maybe some of these things would have been fact of the day. So
Okay.
needless to say, maybe in 100 years, we have an explanation for different things that have way more
But-
predictive
All right,
capability.
Tim, the point here is this is not whether science is right or wrong. This is about him misrepresenting the claims of the science. That's the
No,
problem.
I understand that.
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well,
That
okay.
is-
That's,
I
that's
never
where
Go
he's
and type
wrong.
into
never
for
really
yourself.
get
The
the
speed
answer
of light
I'm
may not be a
always talked
constant.
over
Then
and
you will be
interrupted and everything.
given a plethora of scientists who are now discussing this.
Can you bring some to the table?
Come to screen share, you.
Well, how many scientists are corroborating the flat Earth? Can we go with that?
Well, all of us are scientists, aren't we?
No, we're
Nope.
not. Suddenly, we're all scientists, and then we're not scientists.
But what's your definition of a scientist?
Someone who uses a scientific method to make money.
To make money.
That's what I would
No.
say. Yes.
That's not what I would say.
All right.
Just so you guys know, we
Jesus.
have about 2 or 3 minutes left on this stream.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So Nathan,
Oh.
I'm constantly interrupted, talked over, and shouted down. I
Oh,
can ask questions.
do
and
that.
just
Hold on.
talk
Okay,
over.
go ahead, Victim.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
hear?
What do you have to say?
Hold
You
on.
got 3
If
minutes.
we're all really quiet, we can hear it. The world's
I don't really care to hear what
smallest,
you have to
world's
say, honestly.
smallest violin.
Well, you can leave
playing
then. But
world's
Brenda, what do you
smallest
think?
violin.
See
Fuck
you.
y'all.
Oh,
Aw.
Awesome.
was-
Huge win.
That was the best victim
That
card.
That
you
was
could play.
directed to Validation Boy, Brenda. Validation Boy was welcome to leave because
Operate on faith. And what we're left with is consciousness, spiritual life. Okay. So Occam's razor says that there's a God. You hate that God. You have no faith in the fact that we've been created, in the fact that
Wow.
you cannot change jack
Wow.
shit in your little stupid scientism terms. And that's why you guys are fools. And to worship the creator and humble in front of the creator is the only wise decision in all of this. And this is going to rage on forever and ever until you
No,
stop
it's not.
hating God.
No, it's not.
You're God
No, it's not. Space travel's going to be around soon, dude. You're
Hey,
done.
Kurt, if you look
And
at
it's
the work of
hardly raging. It's a hardly raging.
A very, very insignificant portion of the population believes in flat Earth.
fucking fucktard.
Just over lukewarm, maybe.
Nice,
We're
man.
doing really well.
Validation Boy.
Come on.
Way to go. Proud of you. All right, Music Man, what were you saying?
Yeah, if you'd like to look up the work of Barry Setterfield, it goes quite into depth about the current research on the speed of light.
Oh, if
I don't understand. How do you cherry pick what science? How do you cherry pick what science you want to believe and what not? It's kind of like with NASA. It's like, we don't believe anything that they've. Hold on, we don't believe anything, any videos or pictures, but at the same time, we believe their Van Allen belt, and we believe pretty much some of the it's 2,000 degrees in the thermosphere. That's what they're saying, and I debunked it because that would melt steel. It's like, what? You can't debunk something like that.
I don't cherry pick. I only research the information which is available to myself.
Well, I think you just did.
There's a lot more information.
And with that, I am going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the audience who have joined us for this live debate. Thank you very much indeed. Be sure to leave a comment below once this video has rendered. And of course, a massive thank you to the panel for debating the shape of the Earth. Excuse me. There will be a link in the next show info box if anybody would like to join for the next show. So be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. God, I can tell it's 1 a.m. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.